What was that attitudes of people in the West to multi-partner relationships? What
Yeah,
is this?
so that's a preprint that I've got out now. It's a funny story. I'll be presenting that at HBES, by the way, because I'm
Hey,
on
you and
this.
me both. Let's
There we
go.
go. So I'm on this consensual non-monogamy panel, which is really interesting because I didn't set out for this study to be a consensual non-monogamy study, and then it's under review with archives at the moment, and it came back with 3 reviews, all saying we love the methods, we love the results, but we want you to completely rewrite the introduction from a consensual non-monogamy lens. So I was like, right, interesting. Let's crack on with that. So I pulled in Justin McGilsky, and he's going to help me with that. Anyway, so this study was we live in the UK, and in the UK, you're not allowed to do polygamy of any kind. So you're not allowed to marry, a man can't marry several wives, a woman can't marry several men. It's called bigamy. It's still punishable by 7 years in prison, by the way. So it's something that's socially sanctioned. And whereas you can have relationships like that, they're generally frowned upon, right? Which is really, really interesting because if you look at fossil evidence and you look at our biology, it all points towards at least effective polygyny in humans in some way. So men having a smaller number of men having access to more women rather than everything being a monogamous pairing. And also, if you look at all hunter-gatherer societies, I think something like 86% of hunter-gatherer societies permit polygyny. Not everyone tends to be the chief and people who are very high status in those societies, but they're permitted in most cultures that are current or that we've previously known about that have fallen apart. So if there's an argument to be made that maybe polygyny is something that's hung around as part of the human mating experience for some time. So we've run a study just basically to see, well, do you actually find a desire for polygyny in a population, i.e. the UK, where it's actually, there's sanctions against it? Because if you can still find interest in that mating arrangement in a society where people aren't talking about it, you're not allowed to do it, or maybe that's telling you that we've got a part of our evolved mating psychology is still there, kind of in the background. So that's what we did. We basically asked well, 2 studies actually, a large sample of men and women about their polygynous interest, and polyandry, which is the multiple men to women.
And what happened?
Interesting stuff. Really interesting stuff. So I've got the exact figures here because I haven't committed them to memory yet. So we did quite a few things in terms of like correlational profiles and comparing interest for polygynous relationships against, for example, just having affair partners and stuff. But basically, what you find is a third of guys say that they would be open to a polygynous relationship. So a third of guys say, yes, I would like to have 2 long-term partners at the same time who know about each other, accept each other. They don't get to have sex with anyone else, just me. And a third of them are like, yes, I would be open to that. Women being part of that relationship, not so much. About 1 in 20 were saying, yes, I would be like a co-girlfriend or a co-wife. And then quite a bit of a proportion that's unsure. So about 20% of guys are unsure, 14% of women are unsure. So sometimes it's easier just to look at the no. So 50% of guys are like definitely no, 80% of women are like definitely no.
Are you surprised at 50% of men saying definitely no, given male desire for sexual variety?
I'm not surprised because of when you start looking into polygyny, just how difficult that is to juggle as a relationship. But also, remember, this is in a background where people are brought up to be told that this is wrong. So it's actually more the other way around. I'm surprised that you've got 50% of men who are saying either yes or uncertain. But what's really interesting is that you get that big sex difference in polygyny. So women are like, no, 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 no. Guys are like, yeah, okay, I'd be open for it. But when you look at polyandry, the sexes respond pretty much the same, which is that about 10% of people say yes, About 10 to 20% of people say that are unsure, but most people are saying no. And there's not a big sex difference between men and women there. So there's a much more drive on the guy's side towards polygyny than women towards polyandry.
But it's about the same number of men that would accept being part of a female's harem as women who would want a harem of men, around about 10% on both.
That's a so much better way of putting it. I should have had you on the paper summarizing stuff for me.
As you may be aware, I'm actually giving a short 15-minute presentation at HPES this year. So
really? I should go to that.
Yeah. I can get you an invite. You speak to me. I'll probably be able to sort you out. So interesting stuff there around stated and revealed preferences.
Absolutely. Because I put that in the paper, right? So there's a massive difference between like would guys actually, like, once you've got the decision, there's that whole hot and cold reasoning element to it as well, right? Sorry, I interrupted.
No, just that was it. It was just the stated and revealed preferences thing. I mean, guys, I imagine that. Actually, do I? I was thinking about the fact that if a man was offered the multiple women in front of him, that it would sound great. But I think that really works best for short-term mating. I think when you actually are faced with the stark thermodynamics of trying to have a household with two women who, as much as they say that they get on great and maybe in the bedroom they're fantastic, I mean, we've had a lot of history of intrasexual competition between women, poisoning each other's kids, poisoning each other, trying to push them down cliffs, all manner of fuckery that's gone on. And it wouldn't surprise me if men, maybe mediated by status.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at the data in more traditional societies, you basically find that women are drawn towards polygyny only when the benefits they can get out of the polygynous marriage exceed what they could get out of a monogamous marriage. So if I've got a husband who can only invest 5, all in me, or there's a husband here who can invest 20 in me and another person, well, then I'm getting 10 of the 20, which is more than the 5. So there's a balance there of would I be better off on my own or part of this thing in terms of having my
utilitarian calculation in that regard.
Yeah, it is, and it's also a lot of these societies tend to have a lot of control over women as well. So it's like the way that women actually. If they have less free, the way that they do things and gain access to things is a lot of the time through men, which is a shame.
What's happening, people? If you enjoyed that, then press here for the full unedited episode. And don't forget to subscribe. Peace.